Hollywood Forever Cemetery. This is the annual event of the Valentino Memorial Service. This year held in this air conditioning chapel rather than the normal location. This is right here at the entrance. This is the courtyard right outside the chapel.
Here he comes. Thank you. Hugs to storage.
I see a little bit of you.
Sometimes, if you have three, it's sometimes.
I haven't been back for a while.
They were building their
Thank
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chanel. I'm a manager here at Hollywood Forever Cemetery, and I have the great honor and pleasure of being a small part of the Valentino Memorial every year for a while now, wouldn't you say, Tracy? It is so wonderful to see everyone here today. Slightly different venue, but hopefully the goal was to keep everyone as comfortable and as heat safe as possible on a day like today. So I hope that that is appreciated. Again, as with every year, I do love to see who is here for their first time. Show of hands. Amazing, amazing. Can we welcome everyone? A nice warm welcome to our first timers. I do hope it will not be your last. And of course, I know that many of you have been here year after year. We're always so happy to see the familiar faces as well. We have some very special guests this year as well. And we're going to get started in just a moment. I do have a couple of housekeeping announcements. If I could, while I have your attention, ask you to check your cell phones. Be sure they're either off or at least quiet for the duration of our time together, so we have full respect and attention for this wonderful program that has been put together, honoring the legacy of Rudolph Valentino. Lastly, those that are speaking today, we are experimenting with a slightly different setup because of our chapel, so I just want to make sure that everyone remembers to speak directly into the microphone as much as possible. It is fully adjustable and very friendly to put right in front of you so that we can hear everything that you have to share with us today. Thank you so much. I'm going to introduce Mr. Tracy Terhune to get us started. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Chanel. It's always an honor to be here at this 98th annual Valentino Memorial Service. As I always say, it's the oldest annual continuing event in Hollywood history. Now, some of the people who have been here before obviously have been at the Cathedral Mausoleum, which is 110 degrees inside today, so we're happier over here. But the thing I wanted to point out is in 1927, on Memorial Day, May 30th, 1927, the very first Valentino Memorial was held right here. So we're not far from our roots of origin. And then that same year, 1927, on August 23rd, which is the day we always, like today, acknowledge, Alberto Valentino held an invitation-only family event at the Church of the Blessed Sacrament on Sunset Boulevard. And then after the conclusion, they came here and placed the floral arrangements. And then, because he chose that day, August 23rd, every year, it has then fallen on August 23rd, right at the Cathedral Mausoleum. So, but we are here today where 98 years ago, they held the first memorial. So, first on our program to read selections from Daydreams, poetry written by Valentino, is Allison Francis. Please welcome Allison Francis.
Good afternoon. The first poem I'll be reading is Evensong. I sing a song to the sapphire sky that curtains a sleeping earth. I sing a song to stars on high that mark the jewel's worth. My feeble voice, so weak it sounds, a puny earthly cry. Yet when it echoes comes to me, angelic voice in harmony, I know it is not I. It was belief that gave it wing, that weakling voice of mine, and carried it where angels sing God's melody divine. You are the history of love and its justification, the symbol of devotion, the blessedness of womanhood, the incentive of chivalry, the reality of ideals, the verity of joy, idolatry's defense, the proof of goodness, the power of gentleness, beauty's acknowledgement, vanity's excuse, the promise of truth, the melody of life, the caress of romance, the dream of desire, the sympathy of understanding, my heart's home, the proof of faith, sanctuary of my soul, my belief of heaven, eternity of all happiness, my prayers, you. And the final poem for today is At Sunrise Tomorrow. Oh love, when you leave me, do not say, tomorrow we meet at twilight, for that is the time of the darkening hour, the ending of the day. All is glowing, gleaming in our love. All is pulsing, breathing in the light of understanding. It is not symbolic of twilight, nor yet of dawn, for it has reached the zenith of love's day. So when you leave me, dearest, do not say, tomorrow will meet its twilight. Rather, beloved of my heart, we meet at sunshine tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Allison. A lot of times people say to me that aren't really versed with Valentine, what could possibly happen to you last year, this year, in a year? That, you know, he's been gone for 99 years. What could possibly happen? I have an answer for that. Since we met a year ago today, there's 3 things in the Valentino world that have happened. Number 1, the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, a 2-year project. How many people have a copy? It's stunning. Been restored, took 2 years, it came out this year. Recollections was an abbreviated version of Natasha Rambova's biography of her time with Valentino, and it's just been recently released, and it was in a very fragile, very cheap pulp paper that was very fragile, and it's been re-released with a beautiful introduction by Donna Hill. And actually, this is the last project that Donna worked on, came out. And of course, the year of June Mathis. The book on June Mathis, The Rise and Fall of the Film Visionary. Of course, we have this author here today to speak with us, along with June's great niece, who will also be giving us a family perspective. So things can happen in a year's time. Things happen. So keep coming back. We're going to segue into the 100th anniversary of The Eagle, which is the film that was one of 2 films that Valentino released that year. And one of the promotional items that was put out was a brass eagle coin that was distributed by the theaters and to promote attendance, and it was patterned after the Charlie Chaplin film of the same year, The Gold Rush, and even in the write-up of the press release about how to get people into the seats in the theater by using these coins. Garrett Bryant is going to fill in and tell us that story. If you want to see the actual coin, there are some in the display case there. So Garrett Bryant, please welcome him to read us about the Eagle coin.
Hello. I'm going to read a little excerpt from the press release from the original 1925 press release for this coin, which is right here. So I'm going to read a script. If it looks like I'm reading from a script, it's because I am. So this is what they sent out to the theaters when these coins were being distributed. So, since the majority of the United States Treasury coin bears an eagle, the title of the picture makes it easy to tie up with a gold coin idea. And the firm of L.F. Graham & Son, Inc. of Allentown, Pennsylvania, are issuing a coin that looks and rings like a $20 gold piece that bears the picture title and stamp of an eagle on one side, and on the other, a stamp of the cut of Valentino, in Cossack uniform and cap. These coins may be planted on the streets and in the byways of any city, and eagle hunts, organized through a tie-up between the theaterman and the local newspaper. Get in touch with the city editor of one of your papers and see what can be done along this line. The idea worked with tremendous effect on the box office in connection with The Gold Rush, and it ought to go over almost as well in connection with The Eagle. It's certainly worth trying here. This coin not only creates an interest in the picture, and not only acts as an incentive for patrons to go in the theater to see the film, but it makes an everlasting advertisement when given out as a souvenir, a permanent advertisement for your theater, as such a coin will be carried for a long time by the one who receives it. That was true. L.F. Graham & Son, Inc. announced that 2,000 coins to a theater is the minimum order, And the price per thousand without name of theater on coin is $15 a thousand, $19 a thousand with the theater name. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Garrett. Those coins, everyone loves those when you find them on eBay or wherever you can get a hold of them. And it's nice that 100 years later, they're still around. So we're going to show the video of the eagle, the salute to the 100th anniversary of that film. But I just wanted to just recap some films that are iconic. It was a grand year, 1925 in Hollywood. Some of the films released that year will be very familiar to you. Ben-Hur with Ramon Navarro, The Big Parade with John Gilbert, The Freshman with Harold Lloyd, Gold Rush, which is Charlie Chaplin, The Goose Woman with Louise Dresser, The Merry Widow with Mae Murray, The Phantom of the Opera, Lon Chaney, Little Annie Rooney with Mary Pickford. With the Little Annie Rooney film, Mary Pickford in her biography wrote that Valentino visited her on the set one day and threw her off character. She wrote, while we were taking that scene, this was the scene when her father passed away, and she gets the news that her father was killed. While we were taking that scene, Rudolph Valentino unexpectedly walked in on the set one day with a friend from Europe. At any other time, his presence would have been thrilling and welcome. But that afternoon, it threw me emotionally off balance. It took me hours to get back into the mood of the tragedy of that little girl of 12, 100 years ago. Let's watch the tribute to the eagle. Notice the ring, there's a ring that's very prominent in many of those scenes in the film. It plays a little part in the plot. The Valentino, back and forth in him and Bill Mabanky, the original ring that was worn in the film is on display here to my left. So you can see that if you haven't already. after the service. I'd like to welcome to the podium someone who's celebrating her organization's 100th birthday this year, the Los Angeles Breakfast Club. And there's a Valentino tie-in that she's going to talk about. Please welcome Rachel Skaya.
Hello everyone, my name is Rachel and I'm the historian of the Los Angeles Breakfast Club, and I'm honored to be representing the club at this year's Valentino Memorial Service. So the Los Angeles Breakfast Club is celebrating its centennial this year. The club meets every Wednesday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Yes, it's really that early at Friendship Auditorium in Griffith Park. It's across the street from Mulholland Fountain. The club has over 200 members and guests are welcome to attend meetings too. What exactly happens at a breakfast club meeting? Well, we eat breakfast, of course, but meetings also consist of a whirlwind of very silly traditions, most that date back to the 1920s. We sing songs, practice calisthenics, have a secret handshake, and there's an elaborate initiation ritual that involves a sawhorse. If you come to a meeting that might make more or less sense, you really just need to come to experience it. For the last part of the meeting, a guest speaker will present. This can be anyone from Dr. DeBento to the Poet Laureate of Los Angeles to Lamb Chop or even the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. Now, did you know that the Los Angeles Breakfast Club might not have made it to 100 years without the help of Rudolph Valentino? In fact, it likely wouldn't have made it past year one. So let's go back to 1925. Now, I'm not sure how well you can see this, but I'm wearing my Breakfast Club button. It's got my name on it, and it features a green horseshoe design. Can everyone kind of see that? Yeah, okay. Why is there a horseshoe on this? Well, back in 1925, many of the club activities revolved around horseback riding. Today, not so much. In the early days, breakfast clubbers would go horseback riding through Griffith Park, then return to the club grounds to eat ham and eggs at a horseshoe-shaped table, and then listen to a variety of speakers and entertainers. Now, in the first few months of the club's existence, some, but not a lot of people would attend meetings. However, the founder of the Breakfast Club, Maurice Dimond, who happens to reside in a mausoleum just over there, he had an idea. So people like to see and perhaps meet big names. Dimond just happened to be good friends with boxing heavyweight champion of the world, Jack Dempsey, so Jack Dempsey came to a meeting and that helped a bit. But Dimond had an even better idea. So this is from a 1936 article from Griffith Park News. Then Rudolph Valentino, who loved horses but detested personal appearances, was prevailed to come. That day, the little club was mobbed, even hordes of women, not ordinarily permitted in the grounds, descending upon the breakfast. 25 had been the largest attendance at former breakfasts. 400 turned out to see the screen's greatest lover at close range. Somehow, I'm guessing the horseback riding had a lot to do with it. The club not only convinced Valentino to come back, but also to become a member and join the club's advisory board, which featured the likes of LA's mayor and the chief of police, along with Tarzan creator Edgar Rice Burroughs, the LA Times Harry Chandler, Hollywood land developer S.H. Woodruff, the man responsible for bringing the 1932 Olympics to LA, and William A. Garland, and movie people like Samuel Goldwyn, Max Sennett, Joseph Schenck, and Louis B. Mayer. Now, unlike some of his fellow movie star Breakfast Club members, we don't know a lot about Valentino's time at the club because his tenure was so short. He didn't live long enough to see the club initiate Tom Mix, Calvin Coolidge, Walt Disney, or Gloria Swanson, to see the membership grow to 1,000. We do know, though, that he had a usual spot where he liked to sit at the club's famous horseshoe-shaped table, and that he was described as, quote, an enthusiastic member of the organization, and often took the early morning rides over the hills with his fellow members. S. George Ullman described Valentino during a Breakfast Club ride, quote, there was never a more gallant figure than that of Rudolph Valentino in his immaculate riding clothes, galloping over the hills in the early California sunshine. As you all know, the world lost Rudolph Valentino on August 23, 1926. His friends at the Breakfast Club held a memorial for him on Friday, August 27th at 8:30 in the morning at their regular meeting. For those who couldn't be there in person, the Breakfast Club memorial was broadcast on KNX radio station. We've got a visual aid that Tracy made, so everyone look at your fan. So this was a photo that was taken at the conclusion of that Breakfast Club memorial service. This was taken within, you can't see the horseshoe-shaped table, but they're basically inside the horseshoe-shaped table. And you will see this horseshoe floral wreath, which reads Valentino Forever. So you can barely make it out, but I want you to look, there's a circle under the E in Forever. Can everyone see that on the fan? A little bit. Now if you look, that's a horseshoe. That's Rudolph Valentino's member button. The horseshoe was just flipped back in the day. Now the mourners in this photo include several Valentino's actor friends who also happen to belong to Breakfast Club. So we've got cowboy actor Roy Stewart, Gareth Hughes, and Herbert Rawlinson. They're all in the back row. And you may or may not recognize a very famous face. That's Charlie Chaplin kneeling on the left. He wasn't a Breakfast Clubber though. And the Secretary of Labor, wearing the white suit in the back, he just happened to be there that day. I'm not sure if you ever met Valentino, but they still let him be in the picture. So earlier in the morning, as part of the memorial, Norman Carey led Valentino's riderless horse, with the boots being reversed in the stirrups as a bugle play taps. This was Valentino's favorite horse, the one he rode before Breakfast Club meetings. And now you'll see some incredible photos from Valentino's Breakfast Club memorial service from Tracy's collection.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Before we start the video, I just want to say how unique the Breakfast Club was, because on August 27th, that was 3 days before the church funeral in New York was held, which was on August 30th. So that was really the very first major tribute to Rudolph Valentino, and only 5 pictures have been known to surface of that event that she just described for us. So here's a video to show all 5 pictures and the 100th anniversary of the Breakfast Club. appreciative to have a representative of the Los Angeles Breakfast Club on their 100th anniversaries. One of the songs you heard opened with taps, and that was actually done at the service, the tribute there. And also they sang Near My God to Thee, which was the song you heard the piano version of. We're going to now have two songs sang by Katie Jane Harvey, who's come back to join us. And the first one, Playing at Love, is another Valentino song from a Valentino film in 1925. This comes from Cobra. So Playing at Love, and then Rudolph Valentino Blues. Rudolph Valentino Blues was made in 1922, so Valentino himself wouldn't have been around to hear that. I would have loved to have known what he thought. So she's going to sing those vintage sheet music pieces for us today. Please welcome Katie Jane Harvey.
Hello.
Life seems a past
Welcome back. Good to have you here. That was wonderful. Wonderful. Most times I love introducing things and I enjoy our guest speakers and everything. Our next presentation, not so much. We lost a dear friend to the Valentino community since our last meeting, last August 23rd, in Donna Hill. Donna was actually scheduled to be here to speak today. The last thing she wrote to me was about getting ready for today's service to speak on the history of the eagle. So we honor Donna today and her memory by showing this little video tribute to her honor, and we're not going to forget her. Here's to you, Donna.
Welcome to Stolen Moments. the podcast for Rudolph Valentino, silent films, and everyday movies. My name is Donna Hill.
Stars may come and stars may go up there in that starry space. But when one falls, God always calls a star to take its place. There's a new star in heaven tonight. Will never fade from our sight. There's a new star at home in the far starry dawn, shining down on his loved ones tonight. There's a voice singing kindly light, with a smile that's made the world bright. Valentino, goodbye, but way up in the sky, there's a new star in heaven tonight.
She left a big void, so we're going to always remember Donna and be in her debt. So that's our tribute to Donna. I'd like to introduce someone now with us from the June Mathis family, Diane Mathis Madsen, who has came out specifically to join Thomas Slater, who is our keynote speaker, because of the book on June Mathis. There is going to be a book signing outside right after the conclusion of this service. For if you want to get an autographed copy, there's a limited supply. So, but I wanted to ask her. I asked her to come and speak a few words from the family perspective, and she's agreed to do so. And I'm very thankful to have her here today. Please welcome Diane Madsen.
Hello. Tracy, I am so honored to be asked to say a few words and share some of the memories I had growing up, knowing that we had a legend in our family. Now, I grew up in a small town in Minnesota, and Rudolph Valentino was not mentioned very much there. But in a closet, we had a big box with lots of movie stills and publicity photos and memorabilia, letters from the family. But except for hearing Valentino's name maybe once in a while in an old movie, it was just a forgotten box. It wasn't until, and I wanted to say, this is one of the inscribed articles that we have of Valentino giving recognition and tribute to his friend June. But it wasn't until 1972 that my mother and I decided to come to Los Angeles. We wanted to see where the family was buried. So we pulled up to the gates of Hollywood Cemetery, as it was in those days, and went into the office, which I think was in the flower shop side back then. And we asked if they could tell us where we would find June Mathis buried. Well, this woman just paused for a quick second and said, yes, go to this mausoleum and down to this corridor, and at the end you'll see her. Well, we walked out very perplexed. She didn't rifle through a big book of names and things, and she knew exactly where to send us. And we walked down to the end of the corridor in front of that beautiful stained glass window, and there, of course, was Rudolph Valentino. And right next to him, June Mathis. Now, right below Rudy is my great-grandfather, William Dabney Mathis, and next to him is Virginia Mathis. My great-grandfather had been widowed when he had 3 small children. My grandfather was a newborn. And somehow he met and ended up marrying Virginia, June's mother, after her marriage to Philip Hughes disintegrated. A lot of those years are very mysterious, how they met, how they connected because it started off in St. Louis, Missouri, where Philip Hughes actually lived with the Mathis family while he was still a medical student. But they ended up in business together in Minneapolis and then out to Leadville, and all of that has never been fully figured out. Like I said, I think some skeletons just don't want to come out of the closet. Anyway, when we saw Virginia Mathis's crypt, my mother was very humbled. I share that with June. My mother was also Virginia Mathis. Her father had named her after the woman who raised him. June and Sam, my grandfather, were the closest in age in the family. And there's a picture of the two of them over in the case, and it's probably the youngest picture of June that we've ever discovered. She looks 6, 7, 8 years old. Anyway, after William Dabney, WD is becoming known in the family, and Virginia married, circumstances, let's say, and it's in the book, that's part of the skeletons. They moved to Salt Lake City, kind of almost on the lam. Anyway, they moved to Salt Lake City where the family was raised, and my grandfather, her great-grandfather, had a drugstore out there. But his children didn't exactly want to become druggists. My grandfather went up to the Badlands in the Dakotas where he worked on a ranch and married and had some children, and he worked as a gold miner in Leeds, South Dakota. And they had 3 of their children then. My grandfather had 6 girls. And he also worked in a saloon in Deadwood. But when there was a gunfight in the saloon one night and Grandpa was shot, my grandmother said, "We are leaving this area. This is too rough, too jungle. We're going somewhere else." Well, since my grandfather had lived in Minnesota and knew about the winters, they still decided to move to Minnesota with the family. And they moved to a small rural town where, since there was really no demand for gold miners, he got a job as the rural route mail carrier and continued to raise his girls until they got old enough to marry and move away. Well, every once in a while a box would come from Hollywood, and in it would be fancy dresses and hats and shoes and memorabilia and letters and things like that. And considering he had 6 daughters, it was greatly appreciated. But one day, a box arrived and in it was a man's tuxedo. Well, what do you do with a man's tuxedo in a little town in Minnesota? So my grandfather obviously had a sense of humor, because one day he decided to put his tuxedo on and he went out on his rural route and delivered his mail in his Hollywood tuxedo. Now, almost 60 years later, I was in that town at an event, and I was talking to an elderly man there, and I happened to mention who my family's name was, and he said, "Oh, I remember your grandfather. He put a tuxedo on that he had gotten from Hollywood and delivered the mail." And I was so amused and pleased that somebody else had the same memory that I knew. So June's life, after she started performing, which started in Salt Lake when she was just a small child, and then she and her mother, they recognized that she had talent, and they moved to San Francisco, where supposedly for their health, but they immediately beelined to a theatrical agent who saw the potential there with June and hired her, and then she went on the stage, and the two of them traveled from one end of the country to another, performing with some quite well-known parts. She was in the Brewster's Million, the Vinegar Buyer. She spent many years with Julian L. Tinge and his stage show. But finally she came to Hollywood, where she discovered that movie making was her real career. So in 1972, we had no idea. There wasn't any internet or Google. So when we came to Hollywood and we saw the crypts and saw fresh flowers still in the crypts, we were just amazed that people still remembered this. And then when time passes and I start hearing about a book going to be written about my aunt, I was so happy to be able to share everything that I had with Tom. And he's worked on this book with his whole heart for many, many years. And
I'm so glad to be here, now that it's being published, and June is getting remembered again, and she's getting, again, her day in the sun. Thank you.
Thank you, Diane, very much for being here and for giving us those inside memories that you shared with you and your mother. I'd like to introduce now our keynote speaker, Thomas J. Slater. He will be telling us about some anecdotes from his book. Again, it will be available after the service, and it'll be punctuated by some visuals, so keep an eye on the monitor as well. So please welcome Thomas Slater.
Oh, thank you, Tracy. It's really very appropriate that we're paying tribute to June Mathis today as part of this service, because she was incredibly integral to Rudolph Valentino's success, and we often credited her in that way. I need to thank Diane for all of her help that she provided in getting the book, opened up letters and photos and other documents from her family. A number of people helped with the publication and the creation of this book. And thank Tracy for, again, his excellent organization of this event and for inviting me. So, okay, do we have the first slide up there, Ben? Oh. Is that? Okay, great, thank you. This is a quote from Rudolph Valentino. For 7 long years, working hard, playing small parts in sometimes atrocious pictures, I labored to be found. But it was June Mathis who opened the door of opportunity for me. It was she who saw me for the part in The Four Horsemen. End of quote. June Mathis was born June Beulah Hughes to Philip and Virginia Jenny Hughes on June 30, 1887 in Leadville, Colorado. Her father was a medical charlatan who became very successful promoting his personal cure for alcoholism. But he was thoroughly discredited when the secret that his cure depended on using morphine was discovered. Jenny divorced him and married his partner, William D. Mathis, in 1896, giving June her last name, which we know about. Okay, slides 2 through 4. June was smitten with acting as early as 3 years old and began a very successful stage career in 1901 at the age of 14. Slide 5. But after 14 years, Mathis had tired of the weary life of traveling theater companies and shifted to a career of scenario writing. Slide 6. Her first work to be filmed, The House of Tears, came out in December 1915. Slide 7. 5 years later, while serving as the head writer at Metro Studios, company president Richard Rowland asked her to take control of the production of The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Rowland told Mathis, quote, "You've got to make good on this for me. Everyone in the world thinks I'm crazy." End quote. Everyone might have had good reason to question Rowland's sanity. In 1921, the number of features specifically focused on the war sank to a low of about 9. devoting $1 million to a new epic on the war, especially from a studio with few resources, was notably daring. Slide 8. Beyond planning, writing, and choosing Rex Ingram to direct, Mathis's most momentous decision on the film was her selection of Valentino for the lead. Their relationship began before they ever met. Slide 9. The accepted story is that Mathis saw him from a distance and then watched his performance in 1919's The Eyes of Youth, in which Valentino plays a low-life cabaret parasite. He only appears in a third of the film and is nothing like Julio Genoyes, his character in The Four Horsemen. But Mathis sought him out because she appreciated his looks and his physical grace and felt that he was right for the part. Slide 10. Valentino didn't realize that Mathis had been looking for him, but he went to the studio because he thought he might be able to dance the tango in the film. So he arrives at studio manager Maxwell Carger's office, and Carger surprised him by saying, where have you been? And told him to get right over to Mathis's office. When he met her for the first time, Valentino said he, quote, liked her right away. She was so friendly and so human, end of quote. After a few words with colleagues, Mathis turned to him and asked if he would like to play the lead in The Four Horsemen. Slide 11. With The Four Horsemen, some tensions might have existed between Mathis and Ingram on the set, as Mathis was on the set every day to guide Valentino through his performance. Valentino told interviews, quote, when I would rehearse, I could tell by June's face whether she was pleased with the way I was doing the scene, and if she was not, she would call me over to her very quietly and say, I wouldn't do it quite like that, Rudy. I think it would go better like this. I'd watch her all the time, and if there was a frown between her eyes, I'd change my tactics. End of quote. Slide 12. As a former actor with knowledge of performance skills, Mathis firmly believed in the importance of great acting to create a great film. She felt it was extremely important for actors to understand their characters. Slide 13. As Valentino noted, quote, in between scenes, we would talk about Julio, and June would tell me what she thought he would do in such and such a circumstance, how he would reason, what kind of man she thought he was. Slide 14. In the final Mathis-Valentino collaboration, 1922's The Young Raja, Valentino plays a mystical figure named Amos Judd, and the film presents important messages of respect for religious and racial diversity. Slide 15. Amos's room is filled with sacred artifacts, including open copies of the Quran, the Torah, and the Bible. When his beloved Molly asks him which one he believes, he tells her, there are many roads, all lead to God. Shortly afterwards, Molly reads a short verse she finds in Amos's room. Men should be judged not by the tint of their skin, but by the quality of thought they think. This strong anti-racist statement is quite unique for Hollywood at that time, but has always been overlooked in discussions of this film. Slide 16. Despite its many flaws, The Young Raja is important because it includes June Mathis's creation of her ideal male, one who is strong, handsome, and athletic, but also intellectual and spiritual. Slide 17. Amos Judd crosses boundaries of ethnicity and ideology for movie heroes at a peak time for debates about immigration quotas and tensions over race and religion. Slide 18. Amos triumphs through the strength of his own spirituality. Slide 19. The Mathis-Valentino friendship was far closer than I've been able to state. As Tracy has beautifully put it, she was his truest friend. Upon his release from jail on spurious charges, Valentino said, quote, "I am not discouraged because my dear friend June Mathis has promised me that we will create art together." End of quote. Valentino was practically a part of the Mathis family. He loved June's mother and would take flowers to her crypt following her death. He called June Mathis Little Mother and described himself as her adopted son. Nita Naldi, co-star of Blood and Sand, commented, quote, "Mathis mothered Rudy, and my dear, she worshipped him and he worshipped her." End of quote. After a visit from Mathis and her husband Silvano Balboni on the set of The Son of the Sheik, Valentino said, quote, "We three shall be together as long as I live." Slide 20. On the night of July 26, 1927, Jean Mark's three-act drama, The Squall, about a Hungarian Roma woman, was in performance at New York's 48th Street Theater. Near the end of the performance, at 10:50 p.m., June Mathis fell from her seat and yelled, "Oh, Mother, I'm dying." The crowd rose in excitement to see what was happening. The actors hesitated, uncertain of what to do. Ushers pushed people back as two doctors and a nurse managed to reach the victim. They carried her outside and laid her on the concrete pavement of an alley on the theater's east side, where she died. Slide 21. Her body was taken to Campbell's Funeral Church, the site where her dearest protege, Rudolph Valentino, had laid for public viewing less than a year earlier. Slide 22. My study has led me to believe that Mathis and Valentino's collaborative work aimed at raising public consciousness about spirituality and human needs to a higher level. My hope is that others will begin to notice how the excellence in their work goes beyond nostalgia and celebrity to lifting our vision if we let it. Thank you.
Bravo. Thank you so much for being here today, Diane. Thank you. Now for the tribute video. It's kind of touching lyrics that with the passing of Donna and also remembering Rudy is kind of intertwined this year. So listen closely to the lyrics and let's pay tribute to Rudolph Valentino. Thank you so much, Katie. That was beautiful. And to conclude the memorial, the 98th Valentino Memorial Service, I'd like to invite our resident Lady in Black, who keeps that tradition alive, and we're grateful for that. She's going to recite the 23rd Psalm. It's printed on the back of your programs, and everyone's invited to join in. Please welcome Carrie Biden.
Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down on green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restore my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I will dwell in the house of the Lord.
I'd like just to say a few thank yous to people who made the service possible. Our guest speakers, Allison Francis, Garrett Bryant, Rachel Skye, our vocalist, Katie Jane Harvey, beautiful songs every year. Diane Mathis Maston, thank you so much for being here. Thomas Slater, thank you, sir. Carrie Bible as well. Behind the scenes, of course, Zachary Jaden, who does all the audio, video, behind the curtain actually this year. And of course, our musical director, Daniel Alexander. There's two people I'd like to thank that aren't here, is Rebecca, who supplied the flowers. Usually they're on the flank the podium, but this year we put them behind. She is ill and can't be here, but she's watching on the live stream, so thank you, Rebecca. And also someone else who couldn't be here, regretfully, was Sylvia Valentino Huber, and she is a treasure to the Valentino Memorial, and she had a death in a friend of hers who could not be here due to the service, but she's here in the spirit and she will be watching live stream. So that concludes the 98th Valentino Memorial Service. We'll see you next year. Thank you and God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Slater will also be available outside with some of his June Mathis books, and you are welcome to come toward the front to see the items that are in the display case. Thank you all so much for being with us.
Here's where the Valentino Memorial Service is usually done at. This is where he resides.
This photo was just here today?
This was here yesterday when I did it, yeah, it was there, I think Trace was out there.
A lot of ladies in black.
I guess that's what happened in the past though, right? There was kind of like all these different,
Yeah, because it started with the one main one, and
start with
then
the one and then there started being.
Mhm.
I don't wanna.
Oh, thank you. Oh, should we do one?
Sorry, it's basically.
You know, when I first started being a lady of black, some people would ask me, I don't want to do this. You can have all the time. And I would tell them no, because we live in a culture that pits women against each other constantly. I hate that, and I reject it. So my attitude has always been, if other women want to do this, there is enough love to go around. Why can't we all share enough? Like, that's kind of always been my attitude. I don't like this room for one woman, one place ever.
Exactly.
Yes.
Once the when did you, start being, lady?
23 years ago. I've been the in-house tour guide here for 23 years.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love your reading. It's beautiful.
Well, Donna Hill is a very good friend of mine, so I've kind of been having a rough time. I'm just happy I didn't saw my head off and lose it in front of a whole group of people. Like, I've been a complete nervous wreck always about that. Very real. It's okay together. That's okay.
Everybody again? Okay, everybody's in black again. Sure. Young Rudy boy, sweetheart.
Dylan's also Italian. Think of that. That's great.
Everyone, look at me. 1, 2, 3. Everyone else get your pictures. The battling ladies.
No, let me correct you on that.
I'm having fun.
This is what I just talked about. For ages, I've been having people ask me if another woman in black shows up, are you going to remove the veil, get it kind of thing. Their society wants to pit women against each other constantly. I know, I just hate that and I reject it. So, there's enough love to go around. There's enough love to go around, sir. I mean, that's my attitude.
Hey, can I take a picture with you three?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know who wants the picture, but go ahead. I have a family member around the corner here that Brian Singer of the X-Men helped me there many years ago. He was in the movie Blade Runner. His name was Monty Arthur Richard Pike. And I couldn't be here for the funeral, but Tyler said, Richard, it's wonderful. And we have him around the corner, and he was in 200 films. And Brian Singer was a close friend of his. And I know this is about Valentino, but I have a family member around the corner.
What's his name again?
His name was Monty Pike, Arthur Richard Pike. And he's right on the corner like in a little shoebox. But me, I'm always Hollywood for because I worked at Paramount Pictures, Western Hospital, and I said the Hollywood sign, and I'm from the Blue Rock. My baby.
Joanna, did you create this scrapbook?
No, I think Tracy did.
Oh, wow.
Because we never
Because I'm just so amazed.
Pay respect to my family members.
I've seen way too many people.
I don't want a picture down there.
No, this has been here since 1990.
window was here.
I think it's by Judson Studios of Los Angeles.
There's a different thing that's window here.
Yeah, I think he's somewhere around
My rich friend Brian Singer paid for the X-Men, he paid for my red movie star.
Oh, that's great. What a photo, that's great.
Carrie, take care. I will send you my email. I'll text you.
Thank you so much.
Ooh, so do you always carry this around?
So Brian, we'll be in touch very soon about
Thanks.
having some fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You look lovely.